right, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to Louise Nonweller. She's a trading psychologist. She'll be with us today. Instead of trading, we'll open the floor to questions. 30 minutes or so, 30 minutes should be enough to cover the basics, the difference between a demo and a live account, and so on and so forth. And we'll let Louise introduce herself.
Thanks, John. So hello, everybody. My name is Louise Nonweller, as John said. I am obviously in the UK. I live in a place just outside London. So trading has been in my life since I was about 5 years old. I come from a family of very successful traders. I traded Forex for many years, and then about 10 years ago, I ventured into becoming a trading psychologist and have successfully been helping and working with traders for the last 10 years. So how I work with traders is I specialize in hypnosis, I specialize in the subconscious, I specialize in the belief system, and I work with traders one-to-one. I also have courses and packages and a podcast called Trading in the Zen. So for me, my belief is that everybody should have financial freedom and freedom of time. When you become a successful trader, that's what you get. You know, you can have that freedom of time, you can enjoy your life, you can have that financial security. However, it doesn't come, as we know, without its challenges. Now, I have to be really honest here, and working with traders for the last 10 years, you have to invest in your psychology. It is fundamental. You know, of course, it's important to have a good strategy and risk management, which we'll talk about, but it's also more important to work on your mindset around trading. So thank you very much. I'll pass you back to John.
Hi there. So this is the quick introduction. You'll notice from the slides that I'm flashing through here, Louise has been doing this for quite some time. She's worked with a lot of successful traders. And by the way, this is Nicholas Penrick. This is the fellow that introduced me to Louise. He also is another trader. And so the idea of psychology, you've heard me mention it over and over and over and over and over, and I'm sure you're sick of me mentioning it. That's why I brought Louise in, and so that you understand why this is so important. And I'm sure by now, those of you that have been following me, for a few months, you have some psychology questions of your own that you'd like answers for. So I'll open up the floor and we'll see if someone has a question. You'll notice this is my first time doing this. I've never hosted a podcast in front of a group, so we'll see what happens. Any questions, anybody? Post in the chat room if you have one. What impacts us the most? How can we deal with that the easiest way?
So it really is down to the main thing is the psychology of money. So, you know, as humans, we don't like losing, and especially losing money, because it's our bread and butter, it's our rent, it's our mortgage. So that's one of the biggest challenges for traders, is losing money. So the difference to differentiate between live and demo, it simply has to be across the board. You have to detach from the outcome of the trade. Now, this takes time, it takes energy, and repetition. So, you know, there's many different techniques that you can use to detach from the outcome of trading. And that can be anything from self-talk, affirmation, self-hypnosis, meditation, visualization, and much more. But it really is also working on and identifying if you have any limiting beliefs or unsupportive beliefs around money, your relationship to money, and also your relationship to success. Because I do talk a lot about beliefs all of the time, because it is fundamental and it's what shapes us. And if a trader has a limiting belief or a negative relationship with money, it is going to show up in subconscious patterns in their trading performance.
Okay, cool. So that really highlights how we need to focus on the repetition of things. The idea that we can find the root cause if we identify, reverse engineer, and I highlight where the issues come in, right? It's 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 in our brain. It's
Mm.
we're raised into this environment, and so we can unlearn this behavior, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We're creatures of habit. Humans are creatures of habit. But we can change habits. We can change behaviors and patterns. But you have to do it repetitively for a certain amount of time for it to go into the subconscious. But any behavior, any pattern can be changed. I've worked with traders before where they hide their P&L, they hide, the dollar signs or the pound signs on the screen. You have to do what works best for you. Some traders, I say to some traders, look, instead of using the word loss or losses, why don't you change that word to something that doesn't trigger you and that's like less harsh? So there's many different ways to reframe and change this. And also with losses, trading's a business, as we know. And in business, there's always business costs. In trading, there is always a loss or losses. And it's about having that acceptance.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it makes sense because it works for me.
No, it absolutely does, And I do say that to traders, just focus on the pips, focus on your performance, focus on the process, do what you
Yeah,
do best. And, just have that trust and that belief within yourself and your strategy that overall, with consistent good performance, your P&L is going to be in a good place.
yeah, and some of that has to do with ego and fighting, not fighting, but overcoming our own ego, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah,
It shows up a lot
yeah,
in
and so
trading.
would that apply with breaking cycles? Like how do we intervene with our own ego? How do we interfere with that behavior pattern? Because the next question is how do they break the cycles? Winning streaks. They win, and then lose everything, and then
Yeah.
win, and lose everything. And so there is there a behavior adjustment, or is that something
So
beyond?
I think, yeah, so that's a really good question. So I think one of the biggest things for traders is to have self-awareness. You have to have good self-awareness. You have to have very good self-awareness about who you are, check in with yourself. So I think having that self-awareness, you can say to yourself, okay, how am I behaving? What's happening? What kind of thoughts are coming up? And if you feel the ego coming in, you have to challenge that. What I found with traders who would identify themselves as perfectionists, there can be a problem because they're looking always for that perfect trade. They're looking for that perfect setup. And generally, it doesn't always happen in trading, does it? We know that. So I think really it is about challenging the ego, challenging that mind that we call the monkey mind or the chimp mind, and just saying, look, are these thoughts good for me? No. Also, another reason why the ego can come into play, and this is really important, is because, again, if there's a limiting belief that a person doesn't feel good enough, they will look for external validation, i.e., profits from trading, to
Yeah.
give them validation and reassurance that they're not good enough. Now, this can be quite bad because if they have a series of loss or a loss, it can chip at their self-worth and confidence. And so by identifying if they have low self-worth or confidence generally, then that needs investing as well.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I hope that answers your question to the person who was asking. I don't want to mention any names. And so another question that just popped up in the group there is when we're trading our own money versus proprietary money, OPM, how does that in fact impact your mind and your mindset? How does that interfere with your process? Because yeah, I know for myself, I could be trading my own money very, very differently than somebody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually day and night. I've worked with traders from large corporations and banks like in London and Chicago, and they've traded for the companies, and like the results that they get are phenomenal. And then they've gone out to trade for themselves and they cannot do it So
Right.
again, it comes down to the psychology of money. And also another big thing for traders is the transition between going from a career or job into full-time trading. There can be that pressure. So I think it is finding ways again to, number one, ask yourself the question, am I accountable to myself or am I accountable to others or somebody else or, trading firm more?
Yeah, yeah.
But secondly, just kind of see it like you do in regards to, performance and pips perhaps.
For me, I had to find my pressure points. I had to find what hurt me and then avoid it.
Mm,
It's
mm,
like not touch the hot stove. I had to find out for myself what the hot stove was. And so, I come to the point when, you lose a small house. That's enough. That's my limit. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you have to reach your limits and then work within. And then for me that worked well. And then transitioning to OPM, other people money, it was really raising the bar. This became uh, the Olympics. It was no longer me answering to myself, but it was answering to somebody else. It was a boss. It's like going back to work. And so in my mind, that only lasted for a few years, and then I didn't enjoy the loss of freedom. It's all those rules because to them, they're the investor. Their main objective is to not lose their investment. They don't really care how much money you make. They just don't lose anything. They don't want to lose, and so
Mm.
it imposes a lid on our on our behavior. And when I'm trading my own money, I have more freedom. I'm following my rules a lot simpler, a lot easier without somebody looking over my shoulder. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point, John, because everybody's different. There's some traders who I know that they can go into a funded challenge and they will absolutely fly through it because in
Right.
their mind, it's not their money and they're accountable to somebody else. And then you've
Right.
got somebody else who's obviously got a different personality, different belief system, different mindset, who cannot do that. But when it comes to trading their own account, they're accountable to themselves and they have that mindset where they just have really good peak performance,
Yeah, and
because they
would that
yeah.
would that have anything to do with our upbringing with money and our self view? Like it's if you're born with a silver spoon, losing $1,000 is not so much of a problem. But if you're trading scared money, it's a very, very different issue. And I think I think most traders that are learning to trade are trading with scared money and they're rushing out of demo.
Mm,
And with that, this prop firm business, that's the draw, right? That's the marketing that attracts us. It's this bigger money.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not. It ends up being bigger losses, and so in my mind, doesn't that destroy the trader faster? Like it takes away the incentive to become a good trader.
I think across the board, whether a trader is trading demo for a funded challenge or their own account, they have to trade the same way with good
Okay.
performance, good discipline, and all of the ways. You have to have that. I've met some traders and worked with some traders where they trade demo and they're gambling, and I say you just cannot do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I think with some funded prop firms, they make it seem very attractive, but we know that trading's challenging. It doesn't happen overnight, and it takes it
Absolutely,
takes a
absolutely.
lot of work. But with that consistency, keep investing, keep working, keep going, and eventually it will come together.
Yeah, and so one more comment or question is any tips on preventing early profit taking?
Oh, so is that, do they mean by not letting winners run or
Yeah,
exiting too early?
yeah, probably exiting too early.
Okay, so this is really common for traders, and generally this is around past trading mistakes or things that have happened in the past, or it's a fear of scarcity and losing money, or both.
Yeah,
So what I would suggest is one of the best techniques that I show traders, and it's free, is our breath. Now, I talk a lot about the breath, but the reason why it's so effective and can help traders is because trading causes or can cause the fight or flight in us. And it's that primitive dinosaur brain where we quickly feel fear. And then what happens is, we're trading irrationally and emotionally, and we go on tilt very quickly. So to prevent that, our breath, bringing ourselves back to our breath, because when we're trading, there's adrenaline, there's highs and lows, there's emotions, things are fast. If you focus on your breath before, during, and after trading, it will change your whole perception, change how you
Yeah,
feel, ground you.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I was told the same thing or something similar when I was going through the beginning of my leukemia treatments, meeting with the doctors and stuff like that. I was experiencing a lot of anxiety, and they told me to focus on my breath, and that really,
mm,
really helped with my trading. And
yeah,
so,
yeah, oh, that's
so
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all intertwined. Right? I think it's this energy that it comes from within. Trading happens between our ears, and I don't think as a new trader we see it like that. We see it
No.
as a simple activity. It's just not easy, and we don't realize how not easy it really is
Yeah.
until you're faced with all those challenges. For me, in the beginning, it was an exchange for a job I wanted out of. Oh, will be a new job. But after making a little bit of money, it became an alternative career path. But what kind of career beats you up every day? And so it has to be a
Mm,
calling. And so for those of us that have been around long enough, it's a calling. We're here for a reason. We know we can solve this challenge. And those of us, yourself, myself, and those of us in the group that are successfully earning pips every day, we're meeting the challenge. And that's awesome. The next question is, any tips for helping to instill patience through the learning process?
yes. So the question is, every trader should ask themselves a question and just see, am I patient in other areas of my life, or am I generally an impatient person? Now, what I find is most traders are patient in other areas of their life. It's just impatience with trading. So I think really sometimes what's good for traders is to try and get to the root cause or causes as to why they're doing something. So I'll give you a quick example. A trader comes to me and they said, look, I just can't, I'm not disciplined in trading. Okay. Are you disciplined in other areas? No. Okay, well, let's dig deeper, because there's always a subconscious reason why. So when it comes to patience, there again, going back to the breath work, trying to get to the root cause of why you're feeling impatient. A lot of traders feel impatient because they just want to jump in the market and they want to jump out again because it feels sometimes quite uncomfortable. Like I said, it's identifying the reasons why, and breath work, meditation, self hypnosis, all these things can help to kind of improve patience.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, a lot of that material is available through your website and or outside your local bookstores, YouTube, that kind of stuff. I've heard of NLP for years. What
Mm.
exactly, can you mention that to the group? What is it?
Yeah, so I'm a linguistic practitioner, NLP practitioner, and I do that alongside hypnosis. However, I use hypnosis more. So NLP is basically, it works with the subconscious, but there's different techniques and they can be very fast, for very effective changes. There's techniques such as anchoring of a resourceful state, which can take 10 minutes to teach somebody. And with that, you can go from a high level of anxiety to calm within, well, instantly. So it is different techniques that you can use visually with your body and so forth. But yeah, highly recommend NLP as well.
Okay, cool. Awesome. That's good to know. Next question would be, do you have any pre-trading psychology routine, like a meditation, I would imagine?
Can do. And I think it's important for a few things to work on the 360 physically, mentally, emotionally. So it's good, important to have a good breakfast, perhaps go for a walk in nature, even 10 minutes of meditation. Highly recommend things such as gratitude and visualizations. So, yeah,
Okay.
even setting an intention for your day. But all of these things don't have to take the whole morning, and they can
Right.
make a big difference.
And that's first thing in the morning, like before you click
Mm.
your mouse, before you look
Oh,
at your
yes.
phone.
Yeah.
I find if I, put the phone away an hour or so before bedtime, I have a much better sleep. And
Mm,
I wake up with less stress. I'm not
yeah,
thinking about what I saw last seconds before falling asleep. And so,
yeah.
yeah, that's just little tidbits of information along the way. Uh, any trading styles that match certain personalities? Are there certain personalities, specific to certain trading styles?
So I think this comes down to time frame. It's really interesting, actually. So if I was to go back to trading, I'd never be a scalper, but everybody's different. I know. That's just my
Ah.
personal. But I think with trading, you have to. I think the first year really is about studying, learning, getting in front of the charts, really kind of building that muscle. And then eventually, when you build your confidence around trading, you've got a good strategy, you back test, you know it works. Then it's about implementing a strategy to match your personality. It's got to feel right. It's got to work around your schedule. So I think time frame is a big one.
Okay.
And also you've just got to check in with yourself and say, look, do I feel good with this strategy? Because you can
Yeah.
always change and tweak it along the way. I
Right,
mean,
right.
yeah.
That's how I ended up scalping. I found out for myself the longer time frames caused me so much anxiety. I was changing the trade before it came to fruition. I
Mm.
interfered with a good thing all the time. And so I ended up lowering the target to the point where it achieves itself before I get to interfere with it. So yeah, I guess
Yeah,
we have to find what works for us, right? So yeah,
exactly. That's
uh,
exactly it. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. One more comment was, can you expand a little bit more with the breathing when it comes to fight or flight? How does breathing help with that?
Okay, so there's many different techniques, breathing techniques, and some have been around for thousands of years. Now, one of the techniques that I teach my clients is it's called the 7-11, but I don't teach 7-11 because we're just not designed to breathe that way anymore. So it's 3-5. So literally, it's having 2 feet on the floor, closing your eyes, or you can just focus on one spot in the room, and you breathe in through your nose for the count of 3, hold for the count of 1, and then exhale slowly through your mouth for the count of 5. Now, within 60 seconds, this will calm down your nervous system. It will help to relax your mind. It will bring you from a heightened state of stress and anxiety to calm within 60 to 90 seconds.
Wow, wow.
It is good. Our breath is our anchor, and it's not just good for trading, but it's good for our health. It's good for sleep. It's good for our physical well-being, and just so much more. I can't speak highly enough about it.
Okay, that's good to know. That's something I'll practice, yeah, no, a little bit more myself. And
Mm.
so, our second last question will be: anything in a typical trading plan that shouldn't belong there? Like things that people tend to include that are superfluous, that are useless to a trading plan. Things that we're chasing our own tail. Uh, does that make sense?
Yeah, such as, I mean,
Or
when it comes,
items that should be essential to a trading plan.
I think, is that a trading journal? I mean, are they asking
Yeah,
about trading journal
yeah,
or
maybe
just
journal would be more suited. Yeah.
okay? Things like, the trading plan and journal. I think again, it's got to match the trader's personality, but less is more. And it's working with trading, it's working smarter, not harder. So make it
Okay.
easy for yourself. Journal, how you're feeling. How did you sleep? Did you wake up and say to yourself, I shouldn't have been trading that morning? These are the things that are important for traders to ask as well. Too many
Right.
traders jump into the markets when they're not feeling good, and generally it doesn't end well. So going back to the journaling, I think it's important to write down emotions, feelings, what they could have improved on, what they were happy about. But yeah, I hope that answers the question around the journal.
Well, I think so. And this, the last question would be any way to smartly, like a smart approach to creating a goal for the year or the day, or how would you approach a goal with the psychology in mind?
So if we focus on the day, then what I found works really well for traders is this. There's traders that I work with, and they say, right, we say, look, for next week, from Monday to Friday, for 5 days, all I'm going to focus on is just focusing on detaching from the outcome of the trade. So going in with that mindset and really having that intention for this week, all I'm going to focus on as well is just detaching from the outcome of the trade, and then what happens, we start to build up that habit and those behaviors. So going into sort of like focusing on goals, it's just being very specific and clear what your goal is for the day. Again, I think, detaching from the outcome of the trade, perhaps even the pips, and just focusing on, I just want good performance. That's my goal and my intention for today.
S-
But
Okay,
doing that, yeah,
so putting a frame around your expectations, limiting your expectations, putting
yeah,
more of a focus on one piece of the process at a time.
yeah.
Okay.
One of the things that's really powerful for traders is to set an intention for their trading day, but to detach from the outcome. So
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
give you an example. If I was trading, my intention would be to have really good performance, to trade what I see, and to stay calm, grounded, and relaxed. That would be my intention for the day, but to detach from the outcome of the whole trading day, of the
Okay.
trades.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like focusing on the probability, not the
Mhm.
outcome.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
is a big distinction there, and I think a lot of people are approaching trading not realizing that exists.
Mm.
And so they put all their eggs in one basket. It's like that lottery ticket trade, it's that all or nothing trade. So yeah, well, it's been 30 minutes. One last question. Someone is asking, you're still trading, right? You never stop trading.
Me, I don't trade anymore. I love everything trading. I just don't have the time. I have to give 100% to my clients and to hypnosis for traders, and I don't have the time to trade. So
Okay.
not anymore,
Well,
no. But I'm still in the markets. I still know what's going on. Of course.
yeah, that's hard to detach. Well, I want to say
Absolutely.
thank you for coming and joining us today and answering our questions. It's been awesome. And I do believe you came along offering gifts too, correct?
Yeah, well, I've got the YouTube channel, so there's a lot of free stuff on there. There's some hypnosis videos. There's some really
Yeah,
good ones. Podcast interviews, which are quite valuable. But there's a Trader's Mind Reset ebook, which is about 100 pages. I wrote it this year, published it, and yeah, it's full of kind of everything from understanding the markets to trading strategies, psychology
perfect.
techniques, and much more. So that's free for every
That's
trader.
awesome. And like I've been telling everyone in the group, psychology is probably the biggest challenge when it comes to trading because the
Yeah.
rest of it we can do with the calculator or pen and paper. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I'm so thankful for you coming along and talking to us. And
Uh,
if I can return the favor anytime, I'm more than happy
it's,
to help you.
it's a pleasure. It's just, I really appreciate you asking me on, and it's been a pleasure. And I hope I've given some value today, offered some value to the
I'm
traders. So thank
I'm
you,
I'm
John.
I'm sure you have. Thank you very much for joining us. This was Louis Non-Wheeler, and this is it. We'll call that a wrap. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.